By the Whiskers!
Daniel in the lion's den. King Nebuchadnezzar died, and a new king rose up. His name was King Darius. He had 120 princes that helped him rule the kingdom. Among these was Daniel, the faithful servant of God. King Darius grew to love Daniel more than all the other princes because Daniel was so wise and good in all that he did. The king made Daniel the ruler over all the princes and wanted to make him head over all the kingdom. The other princes became very jealous of Daniel. They complained about him. Oh, that Daniel. Yeah, I know. King Darius is always talking about him. I wish he'd talk about us. I know. I'm just so sick of him. He always does everything right. Yeah, he comes to work on time. He always dresses properly. He's always so wise. Oh, yes, we need to come up with something that will, some way that we can find fault in him. Yes, good idea. But what? Together, they came up with a decree that whoever would ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save the king, would be cast into the lion's den. They quickly wrote it out and brought it to the king. The king could see nothing wrong with this plan, so he signed his name to the decree. Alas, he did not know that the princes had tricked him into making this law just so that Daniel could be killed, because the princes knew that Daniel loved the God of Israel and he prayed to God 3 times a day. The law was made throughout the whole land. It could not be changed. Daniel heard about the new law, but he still continued to pray to God, knowing that God would help him if he obeyed him. So Daniel went into his house. With the windows open towards Jerusalem, he kneeled, and he kneeled down 3 times a day.
What the time?
And 3 times a day, he prayed to God, just as he had always done. Secretly, the other princes watched him. This is what they'd been waiting for. They hurried to tell the king that Daniel had broken the law. He must be thrown into the den of lions. The king was so unhappy when he heard about Daniel. He did not want to throw Daniel into the lion's den. How could he save Daniel? He thought and thought, but by the end of the day, he still had not thought of a way that he could save Daniel. Even the king couldn't change the law once it had been made. Sadly, he said to Daniel, "Oh, Daniel, your God, who you serve continuously, he will save you." Then Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. A great big stone was rolled as Daniel was thrown into the den of lions. The king went back to the palace. He was so worried and upset. He couldn't eat any food. He didn't enjoy listening to any music. He couldn't even sleep at night. At last, the morning came, and he hurried to the den of lions. The king called out, "Oh, Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God, whom you serve continually, is he able to deliver you from the lions?" To the king's great joy, the voice of Daniel called back, "O king, live forever. My God has been able to save me. He sent an angel, and he shut the lions' mouths, and they have not hurt me." hurt me. God was able to deliver Daniel. So the king ordered that Daniel should be taken out of the lion's den. He found, when he looked over Daniel, that he had no wound on him of any kind, no scratches or bite marks or anything, because Daniel had believed in God. Then the king turned to the jealous princes. Their wicked plan had come to nothing. They were thrown into the lion's den. Together with their families, they were thrown in. The lions pounced on them hungrily and ate them all up, even before they got to the bottom of the den. In this way, the king punished them for their hatred and their jealousy of Daniel. Now the king knew that Daniel's God was the only true God. He wrote a special decree that everyone in his kingdom had to respect the God of Daniel because of his great power and because he had delivered Daniel from the den of lions. So this lesson, like last week's lesson, with the friends who believed in God, they were saved from the fiery furnace. And today's lesson, with Daniel continuing to pray to his God because he feared and loved him, he was saved from the den of lions.